for another edition of The Closed Fist. I'm Russ, that's Joey, that is Will. Angry Will. And
always Angry Will.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Woo. You know, it's I never want to start off a show like this, but we have lost probably one of the greatest mouthpieces of all time, or I'd say one of the greatest mouthpieces of all time. Bobby Heenan, some called him the Weasel, has passed away. Really, one of the like I said, one of the greatest mouthpieces. It was really heartbreaking to see some of the pictures over the years and how much the guy deteriorated over time. It was just
exactly
sad. Rest in peace and all that. But really, one of the greatest mouthpieces and dare I say influential people in the business.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, look at the Heenan show.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Monsoon. Come on now.
Oh my good. Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Primetime wrestling.
Yes.
Now you had two different announced teams in the 80s, really, that really carried the 80s for the WWF at the time. You had Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura, or you had, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan.
With a splash of Vince McMahon thrown.
Well, you know what? Yeah. I mean, you had
he was the Michael Cole role.
Michael Cole.
Talk about a piece of. Never mind.
Well, but I
got the twitch.
Well, we're not going to get into the. I'd say Gorilla. Gorilla was definitely the.
He's a linchpin.
The head of that.
And don't forget about Sir Isaac Hayes.
Lord Alfred
Hayes.
That's what it was. Sorry, it's early on a Saturday.
Or since we are in Western New York, does anybody remember the Canadian version?
Oh,
Billy Red
Lions. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. But they kind of got us thinking. Him being the manager mouthpiece. What? We in the last show we did a Mount Rushmore of the icons or influential legends of pro wrestling. What about managers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Monuments again.
I mean, if you think about it over time, there are a lot of wrestlers that needed mouthpieces.
I think for me, this was a lot easier than the icon or most influential people in wrestling.
Will took heat for picking Macho over Andre.
Yep, I took a lot of heat for that one.
Yeah.
I'll stand by it. And you'll see a connection with my management, the manager's Rushmore there. But like I said, I think it was a lot easier to pick this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more straightforward. But you know what? I think we each have our three, but it's always that last one that you're like, okay, if I pick this guy, then I leave this guy out. But then we can also give monuments.
Lots of monuments.
Lots of monuments.
Kimchi gets a monument. You heard it here first. Kimchi gets a monument.
Kimchi. Wow. You really?
I had to. That's my man.
Kimchi.
He kept Kamala in shape. Told you it's early on Saturday morning.
Oh my goodness! But where do we begin here? I mean, do we all agree that Bobby Heenan is on the Mount Rushmore?
He's got to be number one.
Bobby Heenan's the top dog.
Top dog.
Sure.
Okay.
He's the George Washington of the monument.
All I gotta say is go look up the interviews with him and Ravishing Rick Rude.
Oh my God!
Oh yes.
That alone, he'd be on there for me. But I went back and since his passing, I went back and watched some of the old videos. He was perfect. It was classic.
I mean, you
stuff.
think about it too. Like all the highlights of the '80s, he was part of it.
Oh my
he was in the fold. Hogan and Andre. He was in the fold. He was part of everything.
Going back to the first WrestleMania. I mean, he was involved in one of the biggest, matches, multiple matches in the first WrestleMania. Big John Studd and Andre, the body slam match.
Oh yeah.
When Andre won, he ran up to Andre and stole the money. Mm-hmm. He doesn't remember that,
Yeah, put him with Mean Gene. Those were some amazing interviews.
Oh my goodness.
That was all of it. Those two.
That's how you coined the weasel.
So we all pretty much agree on Bobby Heenan. Let's start with the angry old man, and let's see who would you put on there?
Well, we had Bobby Heenan for sure. I also picked Paulie Dangerously, aka Paul Heyman.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, his stuff from WCW back when he had the mullet, and I mean that mullet was amazing. That thing was, with the trench coat.
It was
and
the pinnacle.
and the cell phone before a cell phone was a cell phone.
Yes.
He had that box connected to his head, and there.
That's why his hair fell out.
He was awesome. And I'm not going to get into his stuff owning ECW and all the rest of it. Just the manager
Mouthpiece
style.
just for CM Punk and for our champion right now.
Oh yeah. With the CM. I mean, when you coin the term, and you can make shirts that say you're a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah.
Or they now have there's even rumors about after the Mae Young Classic there could possibly be a Paul Heyman girl coming in. That's all speculation, of course. Whatever.
Right.
But
Give him all that you can.
But
love Paul Heyman.
He is, as of right now, after Bobby Heenan, for me, probably the best right now. Anyway.
Right. Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely.
You can't hear Brock Lesnar's name without hearing Brock Lesnar. You just can't hear it without him being there.
And then I think my third would be Miss Elizabeth.
Ooh, that's a.
Yeah, she's a game. To me, she's a game changer. She didn't. And the thing is, we discussed as a mouthpiece and everything else. I put this into the category of valet. So I put manager and valet in the same boat. In the same
Right.
category. And I'm not saying she was the first woman to do it, but she was the most iconic, I would say.
Her and Sherry.
I think.
But I think Sherry didn't come after her. Sherry was more of a wrestler.
Right.
Sherry Martel was way more of a wrestler until she got, she started doing it with the Macho Man, the Macho King stuff, and then she went with Shawn
HBK.
Michaels, and then she went with Harlem Heat, and she was more of a wrestler, and like at least in my recollection, and she became an iconic manager / valet. But Elizabeth didn't even need to say a word, and people were like, "Oh my God, it's Miss Elizabeth." The way the announcers, they talked more about her than the match itself.
Yes.
And the hold she had on George the Animal Steel was unreal.
Yep.
Hey!
And then there's 3 for me, and then 4 is
That fourth.
It's
yeah.
Do I go with where it's kind of like what I did with the last Mount Rushmore? Do I go with my heart and I say
pick Macho again?
No, Precious Paul Ellering.
You really want to put Precious Paul in
I
there.
do.
Yeah.
But the longevity of what his career is that worthy of a Mount Rushmore? So with that, I'm gonna have to hold off until all your opinions shake out and weigh out, and because you guys might say something that makes me go, wow, I might have to restructure this a little bit.
Okay.
So,
all right, Doctor.
Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. I agree with Heyman. I agree with Heenan. Jimmy Hart has to be up there.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
The Mouth of the South. I mean, just who he managed and what he did. I mean, the wrestling album alone.
The megaphone.
The megaphone, I mean, hands down, one of the greatest. I mean,
Yep.
Hart Foundation, come on now. Unreal.
Yep.
And my number 4, I think I'm going to have to go with classy Freddie Blassie.
Ooh.
Good
Now,
one.
there's a guy, not too many people know this, but he was the first manager of Hulk. Back then, he was called the Incredible Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
AWA.
AWA, yeah. I mean, that's Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, and all that.
Plus, he also crossed over into mainstream movies. He did the little shoot with Andy Kaufman. He was
That's
in,
right.
as we were talking before, Body Slam, one of the greatest wrestling movies of all time.
Of all time, yeah.
I mean, how do you deny? I mean, you even have a little statue of him hidden in the bar somewhere. If you ever come to the Transit, take a look for him.
Yeah, he kind of waves his cane at us every now and again.
He fits into the Island of Misfit Toys over there.
Where's Freddie?
There you go.
Mine is kind of is along the same lines. Obviously Bobby Heenan, a guy that I kind of will always remember, and personality and the number of tag team champions that he managed is Captain Lou Albano.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Lou definitely was in that
Yeah.
for me. I mean,
Yeah.
and who else wore rubber bands on their face? Come on now.
Yeah.
And he did it with style.
Yeah.
The Hawaiian shirts the man wore, for God's sake.
And he was in Body Slam as well.
And he was in Body Slam as well, so there you go.
Rock and Wrestling, Cyndi Lauper.
Yep. You know, and after that, the top two, after I had trouble with the third and fourth. You know, Jimmy Hart is up there, and Precious Paul Ellering. The reason why I love Precious Paul Ellering is that he meshed so well with the Road Warriors. And, you know, there are some managers that they just throw them with wrestlers just to give them just a mouthpiece, just for
like
the
Mr.
sake of
Fuji?
having a mouthpiece. And I'll tell you, and there's another guy. You know, Mr. Fuji.
He seemed like he was just thrown with people, though, like as you were saying, he kind of like just to help their careers.
But you know what, though? He, like, I think he was involved with Yokozuna
Yeah.
for a bit.
Yeah.
He, you know, he just made it fit. He was one of those guys that could just make it work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then, you know, Scary Sherry. You know, and you know, Miss Elizabeth. The only reason why I would bring up Scary Sherry is that she played the part extremely well.
She did her job.
She did her job
Oh, yeah.
right,
And
and like you
And
said,
when I say she did her job, she annoyed the crap out of me.
That's always her job.
but
Yeah, exactly.
you know, and Percy Pringle.
Oh yeah, Percy's
Oh,
playing
yeah,
the third.
Yeah.
I think he gets his own dark monument.
Yeah, but you know what though? I mean, Undertaker.
Wow, that was really good, Joe. That was scary good.
Thank you.
Your eyes kind of lit up there.
Yeah, I was like, what, is
got
it
excited.
Halloween yet? What's going on here?
In a month.
Is this the Halloween show?
In a month. But yeah, I mean, so many guys
There's
out
a
there.
lot,
Yeah, but I almost want to put Paul Bearer in there, just because of how he played his character and everything like that. Just
And he
him
handled two of the hugest careers out of the WWE, Kane and Undertaker, of course.
I mean, do you think? I mean, here's an interesting question: how much does a manager mouthpiece play a role in enhancing talent?
I thought that was the point.
Well, it
Well,
is
depends
the
talent.
point. It
Somebody
is-
like The Undertaker who really didn't talk a lot. Somebody like Kane who didn't talk a lot. Somebody like Brock Lesnar who really doesn't talk a lot except for to throw the obligatory bitch around every once in a while.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Or you take Miss Elizabeth, who doesn't talk at all.
True story.
And the Macho Man, who does talk. He does all the talking.
Did she enhance the Macho Man, or did?
Oh, absolutely. I
think so?
absolutely. I think without her, you know, because the outer, when I say the outer ring stuff, when, you know, he would, the other wrestler would get distracted by her, or
Yeah,
what, you know, she'd get in the way. Not that she would jump in the way because she was the character, she was too nice, but he would, or
He would hide behind her?
yeah, he would, exactly, he would use her as a shield.
Oh,
and
AKA The Miz.
Yeah, whatever, you know. That was, she was more integral into his career than you'd think.
Right.
I'm gonna.
You know.
I almost got the twitch when you said the Miz.
The Miz. I like The Miz.
And do you remember when there was the whole when the Macho Man first came into the WWE, he was the high touted free agent, and all the managers came out and were vying for his business. Remember that? And there was all 15 of them were outside the ring. They would come out periodically, and you know, and then all of a sudden she showed up. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah,
so
yeah, and another guy, Luscious Johnny V.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Luscious
Dream
Johnny
Team,
V.
Dream Team,
the
yeah,
Dream
Bruce Beefcake, Greg the
What
Hammer
about
Valentine.
The Jive So Bro.
Oh,
Slick.
Gotta have
yeah.
Slick up there. Do the dance. I know you like the dance. Do it.
Do it.
No, I'm good. Oh, you just did it. You're good.
I'm not as good as you.
You're good.
Yeah, the angry old
He was
man
doing it while
has
cooking
moves.
chicken wings yesterday.
Oh yeah, of course it did.
The angry old man has moves, but yeah. So I mean,
Actually, I was imitating Akeem, his formerly the One Man Gang.
Yes.
Off topic here, just for 1 second. The most unreal gimmick for
Oh,
a
yeah.
guy that never fit the mold.
Oh, yeah.
ever.
True. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh my god. But you know, I do agree with Paul Heyman though. I think I would have to put him in at least the top three there. But after that last guy.
There's just so many that could fit that spot.
What did you say, J.J. Dillon? You
know what? I was thinking J.J. Dillon, and then you had to say something about it. But
you said it was going to be mine.
but I think, you know what, J.J. Dillon. Really, Ric Flair was really the mouthpiece for the Four Horsemen.
Exactly.
But I will say this, J.J. Dillon, I think in a supporting role for that. I mean, normally when you say a manager mouthpiece, he's the guy in front of the guy. Mm-hmm. But you know what? J.J. Dillon meshed with that whole group so well that when Ric Flair wasn't there to be the mouthpiece, he was the mouthpiece and did a great job doing it.
Absolutely. I'm not going to get into a Four Horsemen thing here because this could be another half-hour conversation.
Yes.
But I mean, look at Tully was just as good on the mic. Arn was good on the mic.
Yeah.
You know, all three of them. Ole, but he was the real enforcer, the one who didn't speak or whatever.
Right.
But, you know, but that's why I feel he didn't really enhance them. He was good. He could help, but I just didn't. I think all three of them could stand on their own.
They could, but you know what, though? I think he did add something to it.
Yeah.
You know, I
still like him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Four Horsemen were just
I don't
so
hate
good.
everybody.
Everything worked with them. There was nothing that never worked. I mean, everything always got over with them.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think Titus O'Neil needs to be up there.
Titus.
You know how
the
I feel
Titus
about
brand.
him.
But you know what, though? I think for what he does, because, well, look at who he's working with.
True.
You know, I mean, Apollo Crews has, for all his wrestling talent, the guy has wrestling talent. In the ring stuff is
I think there needs to be more managers in there again. It's not. It brought an extra. I mean, it would bring nostalgia back, but it brought an extra fold to the stories.
Layer. You know, that is a huge part of that, because when you bring out Paul Heyman,
he is a huge part of that storyline.
I mean,
every storyline.
One of the better promos of the year was when Samoa Joe and him were in the ring.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And he put him in a Coquina clutch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but you know what? He made that. Heyman made that.
Oh, he sold it.
He sold it.
He sold the hell out of it. He sells the hell out of everything he does.
Yep. And I guess that's. I mean, and if you look at the managers that we've selected, they sold.
Oh yeah.
Everything. I mean, they made
Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette. Yeah.
Like him or not, Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh my goodness! And you know what? If you go back and watch Smoky Mountain Wrestling, how much of that talent was. Went over to the WWF at the time.
Oh yeah!
Oh my God!
Oh yeah! Well, think about any of these guys. The Heenan stuff. You were talking about how since he was the originator of this topic with the passing of Bobby Heenan, the AWA, all those guys, all the '80s rock and wrestling stuff, 80% of that is from the AWA.
Yep, exactly.
You know, Mean Gene Okerlund, Hulk Hogan. You know, the list goes on and on.
I'm sorry, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And Marty Jannetty.
Yep.
You know, there is footage of Shawn Michaels with like a short haircut.
Yeah.
When he first started here in like 1983, 84.
Did he have?
I read the book. Yeah. I read the biography.
Yeah.
The biography. Yep.
I'm like, oh my God. You know, it's like a ESPN Classic every once in a while. We'll run like classic AWA stuff, and they ran his first appearance on AWA, and I'm like, who is this kid? And he looked like so young.
Right.
He's like 20 years old at the time. But man, that fourth Brother Love. I'll tell you what.
Who did he manage though?
Well, here's
I think he did, but I can't.
Tinkered around with a couple people, but I don't remember who exactly. Nobody sticks out.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. When Ted DiBiase first introduced The Undertaker, who came out with him? It was Brother Love.
Yeah.
So, but he wasn't with him for very long.
Yeah,
you know. And then Paul Bearer came out and whatever, but not. But you know, but I think as a personality, I think Brother Love was great.
Oh yeah.
You know, white suit and spray tan that went on for days.
Bright red spray tan.
Oh my God. I thought he was a tomato.
I thought he was having an allergic reaction every day.
Okay. But so who do we put in that fourth spot?
It's tough. A lot of, like I said, there's going to be a lot of monuments.
You know, I think
there's so many greats that have been out there. It's tough to pick it. I mean,
I think Precious Paul Ellering, and he is back managing Authors of Pain of NXT, which is really cool because I think the business needs more mouthpieces like Paul Ellering because he's very good. He really hasn't lost it.
Yeah.
But I think I would give Paul Ellering a monument in this case.
I agree.
I would give Slick a monument. You know, any more monuments? Man.
Bischoff.
We
were discussing this earlier.
He's going into my faction wing in another
But at the same time, too, he was Hogan's manager for a little bit there. I mean, he was the whole NWO manager, kind of.
Yeah, he was a front
Would you
guy.
throw that into that mix? I mean, we talked about it earlier. I mean,
he wouldn't get a monument from me.
I think
that's personal.
He didn't do it long enough.
Okay, I agree with that.
I think he's an honorable. We'll call him an honorable mention.
Right.
In that case,
he'd get a wing in the monument. He'd get his own corner in the monument with the NWO. If there was a faction one.
But
I'd go. I don't know if any more monuments, but for my fourth, I'd probably go with Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Thinking about it more and more, we've rattled off some people because I got a bunch of other guys who like did some stuff like Oliver Humperdinck. Like there's Harvey Whippleman.
Oliver Humperdinck. Oh my God.
Oh, you said Harvey.
Harvey Whippleman.
Harvey Whippleman,
there's been some guys out there who've done something, but I mean, Mouth of the South has done both sides.
Yep. And the stable of characters that he had.
Heel, face. He was Hogan's manager.
Honky Tonk.
He was
Honky
Tonk manager. The Hart Foundation. I mean, you said that already,
yeah.
But he could do them both. You know what I mean? And he had a great personality. He could, you could love him or you could hate him.
And he did a lot of those terrible spoofs and terrible segments they did. I mean, that were corny, and he was part of it. That was part of that whole thing.
Yeah.
Rock and Wrestling again. He was part of that. He was part of WrestleMania 1. I mean,
and you know what? He was really smooth on the mic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was. He was
flawless.
I mean, he was a
great promoter.
Yeah,
I mean, he really was.
And I think that's the thing right there. Because you have to, if you're a mouthpiece manager, however you want to put it, you have to be that promoter. Yeah. And he was definitely that. Definitely. Oh, yeah. So you're for Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman,
Miss Elizabeth,
and Jimmy Hart. Okay, sir.
I'm going to stick with my four, which was Heyman, Heenan, Classy Freddie, and who the hell else was it?
Jimmy Hart.
And Jimmy Hart. Yeah.
Jimmy Hart. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go. I think much of the same. Heenan, Heyman, Captain Lou, and I'm going to put J.J. Dillon in there. I think just
can't deny it.
No, you really can't, because you know what, his longevity, and you know what, and I think with all the stars that he dealt with the Four Horsemen, he was able to stand out. Mm-hmm. He wasn't just like the manager in the background that was overshadowed by Tully and Arn and Ric Flair and Barry Windham. Lex Luger, if you want to throw him in there, but whatever. But he was able to stand out, and I think really became influential with WCW and AEW and the NWA back in the day. So
yeah, and a reason to love Classy. He coined the phrase, "You pencil neck geek."
You know what? And he definitely gets a monument, the Lincoln Memorial Monument, in that case, because like you said, he.
But is he a monument or a Rushmore?
I think for me, he's a Rushmore.
Rushmore, okay.
I think he's. Well, I would definitely give him a monument. To me, it was a battle between him and Captain Lou.
I can see that. Yeah. And you could, like I said, you could throw Mr. Fuji in that mix too.
I mean, look at who's Freddie Blassie's most famous people he managed. Nikolai Volkov and who did Captain Lou Albano manage when those guys, when they were at their peak? He managed the U.S. Express, which was Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo.
Yeah.
They're hand in hand, those two.
Yeah. And didn't he? I thought he managed the British Bulldogs for a bit.
For like a minute, I think.
Albano?
Yeah, I think he did.
Originally, yeah.
He
managed a lot of not A-listers, but he had a lot of.
Oh no!
He used to come out a lot.
He had.
Did he have JYD for a little bit?
No. JYD never had a manager.
No. JYD never needed a manager.
He had his own. He grabbed them cakes.
You grab them. I don't care what it takes.
We were listening to all of them last night, man.
Job so bro.
But
Job so bro.
What are you thinking with Slick? Definitely a monument there.
Definitely a monument.
Oh no!
I'm not going to change it, but Teddy Long. Teddy Long.
I know. I like Teddy Long, but I think he's more of a monument.
Oh no, he is a monument, absolutely. Yeah. But he had Skyscrapers. He had Doom. He had the Natural Butch Reed. He had Ron Simmons, because that became Doom. But he had. In the WCW side of things, he was quite influential.
Oh yeah.
At the time of Paulie Dangerously, when Paul Heyman was Paulie Dangerously, all the
True.
Why?
Don't forget Sonny Ono.
I think he.
Because WCW, you got to throw him in there.
Yeah. But here's a question though: why has the art of the manager mouthpiece gone away? We still have Paul Heyman.
Why is the art of wrestling gone
Corporate
away?
downsizing.
No.
And I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Corporate downsizing, because they talked about Bobby Heenan when he left WWE. This is just an example. He was owed $350,000.
Yeah.
And Vince cut him because of he did not want to pay for a guy who wasn't an in-ring talent. Yep. And it was a corporate decision. Oh, yeah. And I'm using that as the example.
We're learning real fast, too, that Vince makes a lot of terrible decisions.
Terrible decision, yes. But why do you think they got rid of... I'm going to get into the whole thing here. They got rid of Pyro now.
Yep.
Because Pyro's expensive. And they don't do it at shows anymore on TV or anything. It's a corporate business decision.
Does it show a lack of respect though for that?
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's good.
No, I'm just I'm not saying it's good either. But it seems like that type of position, the mouthpiece, somebody that could enhance a talent that maybe is not that great on the mic. Because now they're just taking guys nowadays that aren't that great on the mic. They're shoving them out there.
Roman Reigns?
He's gotten better, though. He's gotten better.
Because of Cena. Because Cena brings it out.
It takes, sometimes it takes a good talent to bring out the talent of somebody else.
He's still stiff.
He's still stiff, but you know what, though? He's manageable now.
Cass.
And it's like...
Oh, he's got a couple months to work on that.
I feel so bad for that.
I do. That was
He's
terrible.
Already rehabbing, though, but we're getting off topic.
Yeah, but I think it's something that is so underutilized.
Oh, I agree.
I agree.
It's just like, but could Enzo be a manager?
That's what I was running through my brain.
He's a good mouthpiece.
He's a good mouthpiece.
I think he'd be better at that than a wrestler. I mean, he's a terrible wrestler.
Oh, yeah. But
I don't even consider him a wrestler. Like, watching him in the ring is awful. We're getting off topic again. It's painful.
Well, no, it is.
No, it's more like a rag doll. He gets just tossed around by everybody. Every big guy.
Even his 205 Live stuff is painful.
It's painful,
True.
But he grabs attention from the people with his mic skills, and that is something that they should capitalize on, because the guy is pretty good on the mic. He is.
He's annoying.
He's annoying, but that's.
I enjoy his little spoofs. No. Although I think he needs Kaz. He's not as good without Kaz.
He's a cute little Furby that needs a hug.
We got a hater.
Where's my cup?
Angry cup of hater.
Jeez.